Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. So today I would like to continue to chapter 7 with the title Corporate Social Responsibility in Social Business, is profit still relevant? So as we know, I always mention that in NGOs or NPOs, profit is not the number one, but with the CSR and also with the globalization in the social business that we mentioned in chapter 6 and chapter 6 previously, that in the corporate social responsibility also being carried out by in the social business and social enterprise. So is profit still relevant in that case? So let's go together and hopefully you can try to understand what I mean over here. Okay. As we know, companies often dedicate a portion of their revenues towards social causes. And how are they different from social enterprise then? Okay, the key distinction between a social enterprise and a conventional business is that the primary purpose of the social enterprise is to address a social issues, while the primary purpose of a conventional business is to maximize profit for their shareholders. So this is well known in a business environment. So one thing that we have to bear in mind over here is that the distinction between the social enterprise, that the purpose is to address not only to gain the profit but to address social issues in the community or in the society that happen. So sometimes organization in the social sector can appear as though they are social enterprises, even if they are not. Sometimes they would like to introduce themselves as a social enterprise, as a social entrepreneur, but in actual fact, they are not. Take for example, I give here a company manufacturing refugee tents for the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, for example. So basically, maybe people see that this company is, whenever they manufacture a refugee tent, so this company is a social enterprise. But maybe not, because if they look at the profit maximization, even though they supply the tents for the UNHCR, but still it considered as a same as a conventional business. So even that company is generating social impact. Social impact means here they generate they looks like they're taking care of the refugees by supplying the tents. So even though the company is generate social impact as part of its activities, so as long as it is set up to maximize profit for shareholders, it is still considered as a original conventional business. So we can only say that it is a social enterprise if it has a different kind of business model, like a cross-subsidization, where private buyers of tents help decrease the price of tents for refugees. For example, there's a cross-subsidization. What does it mean, a cross-subsidization here? So it means that the price that they sell for the UNHCR is a lower, slightly lower compared to the private buyers, whereby the higher price given to the private buyers can help decrease the price of tent for refugees to the supply to the UNHCR. So it depends how the business owner decide in this case. So sometimes social business is also different from the concept of CSR, profit, the concept of CSR profit business by advantages of conventional economy. So what I mean here, in CSR, social responsibility is regarded as a secondary purpose and can be implemented as long as not affected the main business objective of profit maximization. So such participation is regarded as an instrumentalist, as the ultimate goal is to benefit the business organization, as discussed by Moyer and McAdams and Leonard 2003. So this is the reason in social responsibility is regarded as secondary purpose. So it means that in a conventional business, is normal business, sometimes CSR is considered as secondary purpose and can be implemented as long as not affected the main business objective of profit maximization. So they participate, but still at the same time, the concept of CSR is for the advantage, take advantage as a in the conventional economy. So further in this slide, in the next slide, I mentioned that the organization involvement in social activities of CSR consideration are still based on the financial implications of a business to obtain tax saving and increase sales of the firm in the long term. So over here, many of the businesses in the conventional business, whenever they're doing the CSR, just to obtain tax saving and increase sales of the firm, because of they portray as a company that really look uh, taking care of the society. And furthermore, whenever certain companies they contribute to the CSR, they can have the tax relief from the amount of money they spend for the CSR program. So that's why over here they can obtain the tax saving. So the priority is still placed on the objective of maximum profit for shareholders of the company. Yeah. So still at the same time, they still the objective is placed to maximize the profit for their shareholders. So in addition, the percentage composition of the involvement of the companies in CSR relatively small compared to the distribution for the purpose of maximize shareholders' wealth. So the social business, at the same time, we know that the portion that they spend for the CSR is relatively small, but the big chunk of the profit go to the shareholders distribution. So the social business entity does not conflict to put the interest of social first, as it is dedicated to fight for social goals. So over here, it does not have the interest to put the social first to fight for the any social goals actually. So this is the query of the certain the business environment today, because still for the conventional business, even though they are doing their CSR, the profit still is number one. So based on the operating experience of Gramin Deno 1 by Professor Muhammad Yunus, the priority goal of a social business is to have 3 phases of development. Okay, this can be seen in figure 1 in the next slide after this, where in phase 1, there is an urgent situation that led to social firms do not have much choice other than to solve social issues immediately. So this phase is known as social business awakening phase. So this is phase 1. It began from the early establishment of social business until a few years after establishment. Social issues on the first phase is very demanding business, and any actions need to be adjusted with efforts to alleviate the critical points of social problems, for example, feed starving individual or children who are malnourished. So this is the phase number 1. So in the social business, the first goal is to attend for the urgent situation. Then this phase is called social business awakening phase. And as I said earlier, what does it mean urgent situation here? Is for the example here, to feed starving children, to give full nourishment food for the malnourished children. So this is the example of the phase number 1. So next, we go to the phase 2. The second phase is the phase where the issue of urgent social needs have already subsided, and it allow attention to be given to maintain growth. So this is important as for the firms not to extinct, and social business can continue to contribute to the social agenda in the future. So this phase is known as a phase to address the challenges of business and growth dynamic. So the phase of dynamic turbulence and regenerate phase. So at this phase, the goal of profit began to be emphasized along with the achievement of social goals. So this is the second phase in the social business. This phase is called the phase of dynamic turbulence and regenerate phase. So what is this phase mean? It means the firms not to extinct and social business can continue to contribute to the social agenda in the future. So they are actively in the business and they address the challenges to grow the business now. The first phase just now is they address the very critical social issues. The second phase is to grow the business, to address the dynamic turbulence, the challenge in the business, and how to grow the business. Okay, the third phase involves a learning process and firm strategy approach in order to maintain the continuity of the organization in an increasingly dynamic business environment. So the third phase is the phase where social firms must continue to meet its social goals while managing pressures and aggressive competitive business. So this third phase is called sustainability or social business phase. Sustain. How to sustain the social business. So it is the phase where social firms must continue to meet its social goals. At the same time, they are struggling to meet the social goals, to help the poor, to address the critical issues. But at the same time, they can manage the pressures and aggressive competitive business. At the same time, they also competing in the business. So this is called sustainable or social business. They can sustain their business already because after they already face the challenges and dynamic turbulence in the second phase just now. So to look at these three phases, we can see the figure over here. Phase 1 just now, social business awakening phase. They address the critical issues in the society. Number 2 phase, second phase is dynamic turbulence and regenerate phase. They facing the challenges, the dynamic of the business environment. And the third phase, sustainability of the social business. They can compete together with other companies as well. Okay, next. Should not-for-profit organization earn profit? This is a very, fundamental question to ask on the not-for-profit organization, whether they allow or they supposed to earn profit. So not-for-profit organization is to agree the fact that earning a profit is not the mission of the organization. This is the fundamental goals whenever the NGO or NPO establish the organization. The mission is that they are not-for-profit organization. But we have to see the whole environment now. After I mentioned just now, the social business and social entrepreneur also facing those three phases of the business just now, whereby I mentioned to you just now, the first phase, social business awakening, second phase, dynamic turbulence and regenerate phase, and third phase, sustainability or social business. So now, whenever we discuss whether NPO, NGO should earn a profit or not, so the organization certainly do not want to lose money. Any organization, even though NGO or NPO, whenever they run their organization, they also do not want to lose their money, since they might force to cease operation if do not have enough fund to sustain. Because if they do not have enough fund to sustain, they also have to cease the operation. They also have to stop their operation and their planning and whatnot. So therefore, to earn a profit is essentials to NGO or NPO. To earn a profit or to break even, at least, is very essential. So earning profit allows organization to better accomplish their goals. And this is true for several reasons. Okay, number 1, profits provide an organization with a safety margin. Yeah, because things do not always go according to plan. If for some reason financial results are poorer than expected, a profit earned in a prior period can make up for the shortfall at the current time. So if for any reason this year earning is less or in a negative, then whatever we earned before can make up for the shortfall for this year then. So this is why a non-profit organization also should earn the profit then. Okay, the number 2 reason is that organization must be able to replace their equipment and facilities over time as they wear out. This is about wear and tear of any office equipment, for example, office facilities. If there is inflation, it will cost more to replace this item than they originally cost. So inflation rate, will cost more of any equipment and facilities in the office. Of course, the increase of the price, the increase of the cost and everything over the years. For example, if inflation is 3% per year, a piece of equipment that lasts 5 years will cost 15% more to replace than its original cost. So a profit will be needed to allow for replacement of the facilities over time. Of course, if we have profit, then we can replace the equipment over time. Otherwise, if we do not have profit, so how can we find or allocate some money to replace the wear and tear of the equipment, office equipment and other facilities in the office then? And another reason is that organizations often want to be able to expand their services over time. Organization also want to expand the growth of the organization. So expanding here means maybe you want to add more staff, you want to add more volunteers, you want to operate in different countries, different state or different district, for example. So this may be to reach out more to potential clients, and similarly organization wants to be able to improve their services over time, perhaps taking advantage of new technologies. So some reasonable level of profits is necessary to allow for such expansion and adoptions of new facilities and technology. So without the profit, how can all this plan can make it real? So it is impossible for the NPO or NGO even to expand their services to another state or district to or another category of people if they have not enough money and not profitable. So that's it. I think for the chapter 7, this is a very short elaboration because this is just a continuation from the chapter 6 previously, and it the goals is to enhance more your understanding on the corporate social responsibility on the from the social business and also from the social entrepreneur, and also how the conventional businesses pay their contribute to the CSR in the society. Okay, with that I end this lecture. So I will see you again in the next chapter. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.